The world's climate is changing. This is a fact that is universally accepted. However, the extent of this change is still unfolding. In previous videos, we discussed how, although climate change occurs naturally, human activities are accelerating it. This means that processes that would normally take thousands of years are happening within just 5 decades. So, what events can we expect in 50 years due to climate change? Let's explore 5 significant ones. Melting glacier and sea level rise ***. Melting glacier and the resulting rise in sea levels are phenomena we're already witnessing, and these effects are expected to intensify in the coming decades. The most vulnerable areas are the Earth's poles. In the Arctic, Greenland, home to the world's second-largest ice sheet, has seen its ice loss rate accelerate dramatically. A 2020 study published in *Nature* revealed that Greenland lost about 3.8 trillion tons of ice between 1992 and 2018, contributing approximately 10.6 millimeters to global sea level rise. This melting is primarily driven by rising air and ocean temperatures. The IPCC predicts that if greenhouse gas emissions continue at the current rate, Greenland could contribute between 5 and 10 centimeters to sea level rise by 2100. In the Antarctic, the ice sheet is also disintegrating rapidly. Research indicates that Antarctica lost about 2.7 trillion tons of ice between 1992 and 2017. This melting is primarily due to warming ocean waters undermining glacier from below, causing them to slide more quickly into the sea. If the entire West Antarctic ice sheet were to melt, global sea levels could rise by about 3 meters. While this extreme scenario is unlikely within 50 years, the IPCC estimates that Antarctica could contribute up to 12 centimeters to sea level rise by 2100, depending on future greenhouse gas emissions. Rising sea levels threaten coastal ecosystems, including habitats for key species such as mangroves, coral reefs, and salt marshes. These ecosystems provide essential services like storm protection and support for biodiversity. Flooding and salinization could lead to the loss of species and decline of these ecosystems. Additionally, over 600 million people living in coastal areas are directly threatened by rising sea levels, which increase the frequency and severity of flooding, erode coastlines, and pollute freshwater sources with saltwater. Cities like Miami, New York, and Tokyo are at significant risk. Current trends and reliable climate models suggest that melting glacier and sea level rise will continue to be major consequences of climate change over the next 50 years. Ecosystem changes and species extinction ***. Climate change is causing significant alterations in ecosystems and accelerating species extinction at an alarming rate. The destruction of natural habitats, changes in behavior patterns, and the inability to adapt quickly to climate change contribute to the loss of biodiversity. 2 particularly vulnerable areas are the Great Barrier Reef and the Amazon rainforest. The Great Barrier Reef, the largest coral reef system in the world and visible from space, has been severely affected by climate change. Corals are highly sensitive to water temperature changes, and even a slight increase can cause massive coral bleaching events. Between 2016 and 2017, the Great Barrier Reef experienced 2 consecutive mass bleaching events, affecting over 50% of corals. According to a study published in *Nature*, the frequency and intensity of these events have increased dramatically, and if greenhouse gas emissions continue, mass bleaching events could become annual by 2050, causing irreparable damage. The disappearance of the reef would mean the loss of countless aquatic species that depend on it. The Amazon rainforest, known as the lungs of the planet, stores large amounts of carbon and is home to unparalleled biodiversity. However, rising temperatures and changing precipitation patterns are affecting forest health. A study by Brazil's National Institute for Space Research, INPE, indicates that the Amazon is experiencing more severe and frequent droughts, which increase the risk of wildfires. These wildfires destroy large areas of forest and release vast amounts of carbon into the atmosphere. Deforestation combined with climate change could lead to a point of no return, where large parts of the Amazon become savanna, resulting in massive biodiversity loss and the extinction of numerous species. The probability of such changes occurring in the next 50 years is extremely high. According to recent records, approximately 150 species of plants and animals become extinct every day worldwide. This rate of extinction will continue unless action is taken. The scientific community, including the IPCC and conservation organizations, warns that we are experiencing a sixth mass extinction primarily driven by human activity. Alteration of hydrological cycles ***. Climate change profoundly impacts the Earth's hydrological cycles, affecting the distribution and availability of water. This manifests through changes in precipitation patterns, increasing the frequency and severity of droughts and floods. Let's examine two extremes of this phenomenon. In the Horn of Africa, which includes countries like Somalia, Ethiopia, and Kenya, severe and recurrent droughts have been prevalent. Since 2005, this region has faced at least 4 major droughts, impacting millions of people. The 2011 drought in Somalia led to a famine affecting 13 million people and causing approximately 260,000 deaths. The IPCC notes that the likelihood of extreme droughts in this region has increased due to climate change, which exacerbates food insecurity and causes mass population displacements. Conversely, Southeast Asia, a densely populated region including Thailand, Vietnam, and the Philippines, is experiencing increased flooding. In 2011, Thailand endured one of its worst floods, affecting around 13 million people. Extreme rainfall and rising sea levels linked to climate change contribute to these floods. The IPCC projects that extreme rainfall will become more frequent in this region as the climate worsens, increasing the risk of flooding. These changes have devastating effects on ecosystems. Droughts in the Horn of Africa affect local vegetation and wildlife, while floods in Southeast Asia destroy terrestrial and aquatic habitats, killing species and dispersing populations. Water currents laden with sediment and pollutants can also damage coral reefs and mangroves, crucial for marine biodiversity and coastal protection. The IPCC's climate models indicate that precipitation patterns will become more erratic in 50 years, with semi-arid regions like the Horn of Africa facing more severe droughts and flood-prone areas like Southeast Asia experiencing increased flooding. Challenges in energy production ***. Alterations in weather patterns affect both renewable and non-renewable energy generation, threatening the stability and efficiency of the energy supply. Climate change impacts the availability of water resources, rising temperatures, and the frequency of extreme weather events. Hydropower is a major energy source in South America, providing about 60% of the region's electricity. However, climate change is altering precipitation patterns and reducing water availability for hydroelectric dams. The Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, reports that hydroelectric capacity in the region could decrease by 10% to 20% by 2050 due to reduced glacier mass and rainfall variability. Brazil, which relies on hydropower for over 70% of its electricity, has already seen significant impacts from prolonged droughts. The 2014 to 2015 drought drastically reduced hydroelectric production, forcing Brazil to rely more on fossil fuels and increasing carbon emissions. Nuclear and coal-fired power plants also rely on water for cooling. Rising global temperatures and heat waves can reduce the efficiency of these plants or even force them to halt production. In Europe, the 2003 heatwave significantly reduced nuclear power production due to high water temperatures affecting cooling efficiency. The Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research, PIK, estimates that by 2050, nuclear and coal-fired power plants in Europe could see a reduction in generation capacity by 6% to 19% due to inadequate cooling water and rising temperatures. Reduced hydropower capacity and higher water temperatures directly impact aquatic ecosystems. Lower river flows from reduced hydropower can alter natural river flows, affecting species that rely on specific water levels for reproduction and feeding. This can negatively impact wetlands and species dependent on them. For example, the baiji, a freshwater dolphin, became extinct after the Three Gorges Dam was built in China. The likelihood of these energy production challenges intensifying over the next 50 years is high. The real question is not whether these challenges will occur, but whether we will be ready when they do. Increase in the frequency and intensity of natural disasters ***. Climate change is linked to an increase in the frequency and intensity of natural disasters such as hurricanes, wildfires, floods, and heat waves. These extreme events have devastating effects on ecosystems and human societies. In recent decades, there has been a noticeable increase in the intensity and frequency of hurricanes in the Atlantic. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, the 2020 hurricane season was the most active on record, with 30 named storms, 13 hurricanes, and 6 major hurricanes. Rising sea temperatures provide more energy for more powerful hurricanes. Hurricane Maria in 2017, which reached Category 5 status, caused massive destruction in Puerto Rico, resulting in over 3,000 deaths and damage that remains unrepaired. Australia has also seen increasingly severe bushfires, a trend linked to climate change. The 2019 to 2020 fire season, known as the Black Summer, was one of the worst on record, burning approximately 186,000 square kilometers, killing 33 people, and destroying around 3,000 homes. Rising temperatures and drier conditions are lengthening and intensifying fire seasons. The Black Summer fires resulted in an estimated 3 billion animal deaths or displacements. Natural disasters have severe impacts on ecosystems. Hurricanes can destroy coral reefs, mangroves, and coastal forests, all crucial for biodiversity and coastal protection. Wildfires not only kill animals and destroy habitats, but also disrupt nutrient cycles and can alter forest structures for decades. Recovery from these disasters can take decades, and in some cases, ecosystems may never. Please subscribe our channel